You've tuned in to the show that celebrates life and all that makes it special. Sports, music, you, and of course, an ice-cold beer or a glass of your favorite wine. And now, today's story.
Hey guys, welcome to Life, Sports, Music, and Beer, and this is our Major League Baseball 2022 forecast, National League. We're excited here. I've got three great people with me. My co-host, Rick. You'll see him there. He's got that. What kind of cap is that, Rick? I like that.
That's that Ripken experience, that I was telling you about. Fantastic park, if anybody ever gets down to Myrtle Beach for the youth. I think Mike would have really enjoyed it. It's got the Polo Grounds, Ebbets Field. They're all recreations of the fields that these kids get to play on high school trip. So it was really cool.
Man, Rick, that is awesome. You got to tell us a little bit more about that. Tell our viewers. I myself want to get out there. I think it's just fantastic.
Yeah,
what they've done.
It was really
He's
cool.
one of the class acts of baseball. Am I correct in saying that, Cal Ripken?
Absolutely.
Class act, dude. Class act. Him and Derek Jeter, face of baseball, dude. They're what they're what the game they're about. They're it. I think of them, and I think baseball in the purest way. We've also got Mike Essen. Mike Essen is the conservative voice of South Florida. He's got Blog Talk Radio. And if you've never listened to his show, you got to get on there. He'll give you that information. It'll pop up on the screen in just a bit. You got to listen to his show. If you're a patriot and you love this country the way we do, you got to listen to Mike's show. It's just absolutely awesome. Mike, how you doing, buddy?
Doing great, Ralph. Excited about opening day. How are you?
Fantastic, man. And I'm excited about having you guys on the show. And now we've got Paul Anthony over here on my left, and Paul is in St. Louis, one of the greatest baseball cities anywhere. I'll argue that with anybody. I don't care. I'm a New York Yankee fan, but when you talk St. Louis, buddy, you're talking pure baseball. I mean, that's where it's my second most favorite player of all time, Stan Musial, in St. Louis. So, Paul, say hi.
It is a citywide holiday up here in St. Louis. It is, downtown is absolutely packed right now. The game doesn't start until 3 o'clock our time, so
it's awesome.
Yeah,
we love our baseball up here.
Are you going?
No, unfortunately not.
No, huh? I would imagine it's sold out, right?
Oh yeah, always is.
You guys sold out every game?
This year we will, and I'll explain more later.
Because of the bringbacks,
cool.
Yeah.
Okay, listen, guys, before we get started, for those of you that are viewing, that are listening, we just want to give you an idea. This is a forecast of the National League season. We're gonna take each division. We've assigned a division to each one of our three guests here, 2 guests and a co-host. Rick, you have what division now?
NL East.
NL East. Mike, what division do you have?
NL West.
I think Mike froze up there.
Mike froze on us. I think he's got the West, and
NL
Paul's
West.
got Central. I'm pretty sure.
Paul, you got Central because that's where St. Louis is located.
That's where meet me in St. Louis.
That's right. I do. I have the West.
All right. Now, before we get into this, for you baseball fans, we want to go over a little bit about the change in format, some of the rule changes in baseball. Okay, I'm going to try to explain this as best that I can because this is way over my head. For those of you that know me, I have a law degree, which means that I know nothing about nothing. Okay. And I struggle just understanding basic concepts. Okay. Well, that's one of the qualities you need to become a lawyer, by the way.
Well, yeah.
All right. So this year, Rick, and I know you and Paul, well, actually all three of you, you guys are really into baseball. I've been out of it for a while. I'll try to explain this. You guys feel free to jump in anytime, any comments that you have as for the new format. Each league will send 6 teams to the playoffs. So the 6 American League teams, 6 National League teams, and there will be single elimination wild card games replaced by best of 3. Before, you would have Rick, help me on this. You would have
the division winners, and I think I'm right on this, Paul, right? Division winners, and then you'd have...
I thought there was a play-in game first, and then the winner of that game goes to the division round.
Yes.
Paul's right.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's eliminated, Paul. That one game is eliminated. Now it's replaced by best of 3. And of course they do that for money reasons.
Now, is this just part of the lockout thing, or to make up more money, or is this for good?
Well, this is
Good
I
question.
understand it's for good. That's a good
I
question.
think it's for good. I thought it was. I thought it was rules.
Because I thought they were going to add more playoffs just this year to make up for the lockout.
No,
but they're playing a whole season, so it's probably
And I'll tell you why.
Scratch what I just said. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's a good question. I'll tell you why. Because right here I've got the stats. It says this new format will generate $85 million from ESP alone. ESP is paying Major League Baseball an extra $85 million just for that. So, Paul, that answers your question. Okay. So here's the breakdown. The 3 division winners from each league would remain. So each, East, West, Central, those division winners would remain. But instead of the next 2 best records getting in, it would be the next 3 best records getting in. There won't be a playoff game anymore. For example, if 2 teams are tied, like the Yankees. Remember the Yankees and the Red Sox in *78? I think it was.
The Bucky Dent game, yeah.
Then that 163rd game, that's eliminated. No more. And any ties would be settled via a list preset tiebreakers, but not an extra game. In other words, I don't have the list there, but somehow they'll come up with some crazy, whoever sold more Cracker Jacks.
Or Cracker Jills.
Or Cracker Jill. Oh, Paul, I'm glad you said that.
Touche, Mr. Pussycat.
Touche, that was awesome, dude. All right. There won't be any
and the teams that don't make the playoffs, they get participation trophies still, right?
Of course they do.
Of course. Yeah, no,
course.
that's necessary. You got to keep
They're
those.
still the best. Paul.
2022
They still get
without
ice cream.
Yeah, no, of course. Yeah, got to make them feel good,
Well, yeah.
Oh, God. There won't be any reseeding after that last round we talked about. So it's possible. Here's what I love, that a number 2 seed could face a number 6 seed, while the top seed will face a number 4 seed. As you recall, before it used to be the top seed would always face the lowest seed, and then, that it would just crunch it. Now that's different. So why the hell they're doing that, I have no freaking idea. Seeds number 1 and 2 in each league get buys. So in other words, the top 2 records in each league will get buys. Number 4 will play number 5 for the right to play the top seed. Number 3 plays number 6 for the right to play the second seed. Beyond the wild card round, the playoffs will be the playoffs. After that, since we've known since 1995. Now, guys, I have to tell you, I have no idea what I just said. So if any of you can clarify this for me, I'd appreciate it. Here's my take. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I don't know why they're doing all this crap. The time clock on the pitchers, the larger bases. What are they doing to the game of baseball? Just leave it alone.
Exactly.
Paul, your thoughts?
Trying to make it safer. I don't know. You're still going to have collisions on the base paths.
That's
it. I don't know. I don't get what they do. Ever since Manfred's been in, I don't get what he does. So,
Mike, you know what I don't understand, Mike? This pitcher's clock is. By the way, Rick, is that taking effect this season? The pitcher's clock?
I don't know. Go ahead, Paul.
They had it last year.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, and they started it. Everything's tested through the minor league. So I saw it a few years ago in Columbus at the Clippers game. So all this is to attract the 20-some market that they've lost because the short attention span on these kids. That's really what this is. So you want to know why they're speeding up games, why they're making it more exciting, why they're putting DHs in, because kids are ADD and they don't want to sit there for 2.5, 3 hours and watch baseball. They don't.
All right, somebody explain this to me. They want to shorten the game, but yet, from what I understand, they're putting microphones on umpires. So then when there's a call, a disputed call, you can hear the umpire's arguments, and then they have instant replay. So they're prolonging this thing on instant replays, and then they're taking time away from a pitcher. Mike, can you explain this madness to me?
Instant replays, I think, are justified as long as they're monitored and shortened, because you don't want a team to win in a bad call. Like Andre Scalaraga could have had a perfect game a few years ago with Rick's Tigers, and they took it away from him because they had a bad call.
Yeah.
But
that's baseball.
If they limit that, I think that's fair.
Yeah, but that's just like the strike zone, the computerized strike zone and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They're taking away the human element of the game.
Right.
Maybe because I'm an old fart, I look at things in the purest way. I just
It is
if it's
sad.
worked for 100 years.
It's worked for
go
100
ahead.
years. It's an old-fashioned game, and I think it's like music. They used to have the crooners sing their own songs. Now they're singing through machines. They're trying to appeal to the tech generation, and it's really going to backfire because most people don't. If it's not broken, don't fix it. I agree with Ralph.
Yeah.
Yeah. If it's not broken, don't fix it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
This will break a lot.
So
But the one thing
agree.
that I do agree with the umpires having the microphones on is every other sport, when they have replays, an official will explain their decision, what they saw, what happens. In in a play at first base, who beat who, they don't necessarily need that. But when it's a complicated call and the umpires just come out and say you're on second, you're out, we don't know what their ruling was. I mean,
Right.
it'll be nice to have them explain that.
Yeah. Well,
agree with
that
that.
explains why I didn't know about the I didn't watch baseball last year.
Yeah.
I totally just turned it off. I don't know what that means in basketball. I haven't watched basketball in years because I just got so turned off. Are you telling me that the refs explain their call?
Oh,
At
they
that
come
time?
right
Oh,
over.
and in
They come
in
right
hockey,
over
yeah,
to
they all do,
the
yeah.
to the broadcaster. They go to the broadcasters now. One will go to the coaches, one goes to the broadcaster, so the TV people know immediately, so they can explain to us.
Yeah.
And that's how they do it in the NCAA too. But yeah, my opinion is NFL, all of these instant replays, it really shouldn't take them this long. I mean, seriously, if you're upstairs watching it, we watch it at home. We see it one time. We know what the call should be.
Mm-hmm.
How do you have these 80-year-olds that don't know what a TV is up there taking forever making these calls? It's ridiculous. It really is. It destroys
They're
the game.
adjusting the rabbit ears.
Yeah, I mean, it's sad. I see some of these guys that are doing the replays. I'm like, dude, you can't even see the screen, let alone know what the call is. I mean,
Yeah.
what are you doing?
Yeah.
Just my
Yeah,
take, but it should be able to be a quick buzzer down in their earpiece. He's safe, and it should go on quick like that.
Yeah. See, I got a different take on this, Rick, and I agree with you 100%. My take is the human element is the human. People are still talking about Andre Galarraga
Yeah,
in that
yeah,
game. Yes or no?
yeah. Jim
If we
Joyce.
had instant
Yeah,
replay,
I
they
know
wouldn't
who
be
the
talking
umpire
about that
is.
shit.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? People
Yeah.
are still talking about all kinds of controversies because that's what makes the game so interesting. Are the
True.
controversies when it goes on to your favor? You're fine. If not, you're pissed off for years. Real
Right.
fans that still talking about all these controversies.
I'm
You know?
okay with your old school take. The problem that becomes is it's costing people money. That player, it costs money. That coach that gets screwed on a bad call doesn't make the playoffs. There goes his bonus. It's costing people some serious jack, man.
Yeah. I never thought about it that way. I guess from that point, you're absolutely right. Like Mike says, hey, my take is if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Yeah, you can tweak it here and there.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
But baseball is a relaxed game. You start hurrying these pitchers up. You remember the Mancia story that he told us about when they were playing? What was it? Was it the Cubans? Remember the guy that was taking too long to get the Italian guy that was taking too long to get in the batter's box? I don't know if you guys didn't hear this story. And the pitcher, who was this pitcher? This guy was huge, like 6'7",
Randy
280 pounds. What was the hell his name? Remember, he was pitching, and the Italian guy was like 5'7", 160 pounds, soaking wet.
Yeah,
And he wouldn't get into the, and the pitcher started saying, hey, get in the batter's box. And the little Italian says, I'll get in the batter's box when I want, and they start, and the little guy rushes the pitcher and all hell breaks loose. That's what I love about the game of baseball, dude.
yeah.
Can you imagine this pitch clock? And I'll end with this: Bob Gibson and a pitch clock.
No,
If
He wouldn't need
he's
it.
not ready
No.
to throw the
he
ball,
wouldn't need it. No.
are you kidding me?
But some of
Anyway.
these guys back in the day would have fought that tooth and nail for sure.
Yeah, I think it's turned into a wussy game.
Well,
Anyway, so any final thoughts before we get into this, Paul?
Yes, I like the DH rule for both series team leagues because David Ortiz should have been A-Rod for MVP the other year. I think pitchers ruin games. I think it's better DH is bad. And it would make no sense if the NFL had the 2-point conversion in the AFC but not the NFC. You have to be consistent. That one I support.
I agree.
I'm good with
Paul,
that.
any thoughts? Yeah.
I'm so on the DH. I'm used to National League Baseball. I like the pitcher hitting and the strategies and everything. So I mean that's just I'm the purist of the bunch. But I'd rather have no DH in the National League. But I get it for the for both leagues having the DH and extending careers too. I mean that's if we didn't have the DH, we wouldn't have Albert Pujols this year. So I mean that's
very true.
There, so.
Of course, you're talking about the pitchers trying to hit. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I'd rather see the pitchers trying to hit. But then again, they talk about. I mean, there are some good hitting pitchers in the National League.
Yeah. They had to be actually. Yeah, for a while.
Yeah.
I mean, Otani's just a freak of nature. That dude's just insane what he is. So.
Yeah. That changes the whole complex of the game when you get into the playoffs and the World Series.
Oh yeah.
Whether one team has a DH, all of a sudden they got to make major adjustments. These pitchers that haven't stepped into a batter's box in years, all of a sudden they're sitting there and they're facing 98-mile-an-hour fastballs and curves that break from I-95. It breaks all the way to home plate. How the hell do they cope with that shit? So from that point of view, I can understand. Let's just do it.
But what you're going to see is you're also going to see a spike in ERAs in the National League. I mean, these guys that were sub-3 ERAs and facing the 9-hole all the time, knowing they're fine, you're going to see a spike.
Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned that before we get into this, because I heard something yesterday that in Cleveland. I don't know if you guys know anything about. Well, Cleveland's in the East, so Mike, you might. He's in the East and the
Central.
In the
AL
Central.
Yeah.
Jose Ramirez is their third baseman. This guy's considered. They're talking about this guy like he's the last Coca-Cola in the Sahara Desert. And I saw his stats. And this guy hit like 260 last year. And they say he had a great season. What the hell's going on? 260? Back in the day, you hit 260. Dude, you're not even in the major leagues. You're like 25th man, right? What the hell's going on?
It's the Ryan Howard mystique. He used to have 233 and 53 home runs.
Right. Mm-hmm. They Aaron Judge. That's what this is.
Yeah, but
Judge
hits 290.
Sometimes once out of every 8 years. Yeah. I mean, they're fine with him hitting 250 and 40 bombs, though. I'll say this to the day I die. Give me 9 Tony Gwynn's against 9 Aaron Judge. I'll win every series. I promise you.
Absolutely.
I'll promise you 99 out of 100 are won by me.
Yeah. So if a guy hits 50 home runs and he comes to bat 600 times, how many times at bat is a home run? It's like what, 10 times at bat, some shit like that? 10 times at bat?
Yeah.
Now, would you rather have a guy get a home run every 10 times at bat, or you rather have a guy like Gwynn who's going to put the ball in play, or Wade Boggs?
I'll take an on-base percentage of 600-700 every time against any power lineup you throw against me, every time, and I'll win.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so they have home run derbies because everybody likes to see the long ball and stuff like that. Why don't they have in the gap derbies?
Yeah, they should. Or how many hits out of 10 pitches, true hits, targets on the field. They don't, because it doesn't sell to the 20-year-olds like Mike was talking about. That's where we all get back to this. It's not what they want to see. The perfect example is my son's in high school and they're trying to teach in the travel ball, the plane swing. You want to know why the majors had so many no-hitters last year? Because it's very easy to catch a pop-up. It's not so easy to field a ball and throw a perfect throw to first. But when pop-ups, we've all learned that since we were 5 years old, able to catch. Plane swing. It's all uppercut swings now. That's what they teach. Period.
You're kidding me, right?
No, I'm not kidding you. Go to any college right now teaching the game. Go to any minor league hitting coach.
The plane swing. Never heard of
Plane
that.
swing.
Wow. You ever heard of that, Paul?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so
I
you
mean,
guys are really into baseball.
yeah. I mean, a flat plane, you're going to get ground ball, line drive,
Line
whatever.
drives, yep.
And gappers,
Yep.
uppercut swing, you're going to pop
You're
outs.
either home run or a pop
Yeah,
up. I promise you.
exactly. Mm-hmm.
Mike, you
I
ever
mean,
hear of
look
that?
at the numbers. The numbers don't lie. You can see when they started implementing it. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
these no hitters have become ridiculous. It's, I mean, they are. It used to be hard to do.
Mm-hmm.
That's why Don Larson got such hailed for his perfect game years
Perfect
ago.
game.
And today, it's still a big deal, but not unlike what Doug Larson played.
I totally agree. Because then, I mean, even an error ruins a perfect game, right? I mean, an
That's
error
right.
or walk ruins a perfect game. So, you know, when Don Larson's throwing them, you had a lot of ground ball outs. That's not easy all the time. But catching, 15, 20 pop-ups in a game is pretty damn easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, unless you got Gary Sanchez catching
Well, yeah.
and the pop-ups just fall on his head. I'm so glad the Yankees got rid of that loser. I mean,
Tell
what
me
a
how you
jerk.
really feel about Mr. Sanchez, because you haven't said
God.
it enough.
Yeah. The guy's a loser. And I said the Yankees will never win as long as he's
That's
catching.
exactly
and,
what you
and
said.
A
Yep.
couple of weeks later, they let him go. There's something, when you got a guy like that who's so hyped, and he had one season where he hit so many, and they got rid of him. Listen, the Yankees aren't well, lately, I'm not sure, but usually they're not fools when it comes to this. They got rid of him for a reason. I think did you see his spring training numbers? Or you guys aren't keeping up with that?
No.
He's with the Twins
Yeah.
now. I think he got something like, he was hitting something like 150 with the Twins in spring training. Dude, spring training. 150.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guy's a loser. You see what this Higashioka's doing? Did you see the stats on Kyle Higashioka? The new catcher who's now starting for the Yankees?
Yeah.
He had the best spring ever. Hit over 500, leading home run 7. I know it's spring training.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
But
still
the kid's
practice
hungry.
as you play. I mean, it
That's
still
right.
is.
That's right. All right, let's get into this, folks.
Yep.
All right, so here's what we're going to do. Let's go around the horn. We'll start with Rick.
Okay.
Good?
So
okay,
I
Rick,
have
you
the
got
NL East.
Okay,
Yes,
go
sir.
for it.
And I'm going to go backwards, actually. I'm going to go from number 5 to 1 on who I think is going to win this and why. Number 5, I don't think is much of a doubt on this. If you're a Washington Nationals fan, I apologize to you in advance, because you are the new Tigers of that division. You dumped everybody literally by the trade deadline last year. I looked at this roster and I go, oh my God, I know nobody on this except for 2 people, Juan Soto and Nelson Cruz. That's the only reason you're going to watch them, if you watch them at all. They brought in Cruz to back up Soto, so you can't intentionally walk him all day. And that's the only threat and the only reason you'd buy a ticket to these games. I'm sorry, that's just fact.
Let me ask you, when is Cruz going to run out of steam? Sooner or later?
Yeah,
He's
soon.
42 now?
Soon. He's just a big man. I mean, he still stays in shape, still got a good swing, but as far as his mobility in the outfield anymore, I don't know how much is left there. He's probably a good DH for a couple more years, but I think he's getting to that Miggy kind of age where, your best years are behind you. Just hang him up, because I'd rather think of you in the Rangers days when you were crushing balls, Nelson Cruz, and not where I think he's going to end up, hitting 210 and a couple bombs here and there. So, but yeah, the Nationals just, and I get it, they'll rebuild. I get it, but it's going to take them a while, in my opinion. So I have them finishing last in the division. I have the Marlins in 4th. Last year, their numbers were really hideous as far as offensively. I mean, scored the fewest runs in the division. They tried to go out and get some pop. They got a Afisail. I hate pronouncing that name. I apologize. Garcia, who had 29 bombs last year, and they went out and got, World Series MVP Jorge Soler. So they went out and tried to stock up their offense a little bit. What they don't get enough credit for, because they're very underrated in this department, is their pitching staff can be lights out. They've got Sandy Alcantara, who had a 3.19 ERA last year in 33 starts. Trevor Rogers at a 2.64 in 25 starts. Pedro Lopez, 3.07 in 20 starts. And they have one of the top prospects in baseball, 24 years old. If he does anything, you could throw that starting rotation against anybody in that division. And they're a top five, their top five can match up with any of them. So they could be your sleeper, but they have got to score runs this year, period. They've got to find it somewhere. So now I'm going to go to the three contenders, and I do believe this in full disclosure. I think all three of these teams make the playoffs. I think you're going to have two wild cards out of this division in the National League. I really do. I've got the Phillies at third, although in my opinion, between them and the Mets, you can flip-flop them. I really believe that. Paul and me did a show, and I agree with Paul. Their defense was pathetic last year, and they didn't do much defensively to improve that. They just think they can win with big ball and outscore you, because when you look at their lineup, they can. They've got Schwarber leading off, Kyle Schwarber in the outfield. You've got Riamato, the JJ at catcher, Bryce Harper in the 3 spot, went out and got Castellanos. I mean, you're looking at 1 through 4. That's lethal if Castellanos does anything. Now, I remember him from the Tigers days, and he can't field anything, so that's why they're DHing him this year, which is a good spot for him. They got Rhys Hoskins at first. They went out and got Didi Gregorius, who you know well, Ralph. At shortstop, they got Segura at second base, Bryson Scott at third base, and Mickey Montauk in the outfield. I believe he might have come from the Tiger system. Their pitching staff is Aaron Nola, Kyle Gibson, Zach F. I don't know these names, to be honest. Zach Eflin, Suarez, and the only one I know is Wheeler, who actually is he's got a bad shoulder. They expect him back middle of this month. So, not too long on that. It looks like Corey Nebel is their closer. Still not a guy I know, to be honest with you. The stats that stood out to me last year, they scored 6 runs in games 48 times. However, they gave up 6 runs a game 54 times. So, like we said, their defense was really bad. That was tied for 12th most in baseball with the Cleveland Indians. I'm not calling them the Guardians yet, so anybody that hates that, don't really care. Guardians is a movie. It's not a name for a baseball team. Mets in the 2 hole. Got Brandon Nimmo leading off. You got Sterling Marte in the outfield. Francisco Lindor at short. Pete Alonso at first, another Yankee, Robinson Cano. Then the DH, Eduardo Escobar at third. Jeff McNeil second. Their outfield is Contrell. And my favorite catcher of all time is James McCann, who was a former Tiger, went to the White Sox. Now is with the Mets, been there a couple years. Love that guy. The classiest dude you'll ever meet and talk to. Just pure gold, and one hell of a catcher. The question marks for the Mets, big ones. We will start with Mr. DeGrom, who me and Paul covered, hurting himself, looking mid-May now. They expect him back. What's he going to have when he comes back? How's that shoulder going to be? That's mid-May when he even starts probably getting into baseball shape, like we talked about, and actually throwing. He won't probably be back till the end of May, probably early June, in my opinion. By the time you're game ready and that arm's ready to go, even 3-4 innings, which is what they'll probably start him at, he'll be on a pitch count for probably a month at least. Do they trade him like me and Paul were talking about? Is that trade bait now, or do they try to ride him and try to get 10 games out and just tread water till the playoffs if they can make it? That's kind of how you're looking at him. Lindor, can he get back to anywhere close to what he was with the Indians when he was lights out? He was pathetic last year. I mean, just bad. And he's a good hitter, man. I watch this guy. He's a good hitter. If he comes back, that lineup's lethal. If he doesn't, that's a big question mark and a big hole. And then Scherzer, of course. How long is he going to keep being able to do what he does? You know, he's got a little ouchie right now. He's going to be fine. But is he starting to hit that peak? Has he already gone past the peak? I know his teammate, Mr. Verlander, is a freak of nature and can do it all day long. And me and Paul said why, because if you were married to that woman, you could do it all day long too. However, the fountain of youth will run out at some point. So that's where I have them. I do think they contend, but as I told Paul in his show, bottom line is to be the champ, you got to beat the champ. And until somebody beats the Braves, they are going to win this division, period. You have to go out and beat them, and I don't see anybody beating them. They start off with Eddie Rosario, lead off in the outfield. Ozzie Albies at second base. The big question mark coming into this year, Freeman. Let him go. Well, they replace that with a younger version of him with more pop and Matt Olson from the A's. I don't see a let-off, none except for clutch hitting. Matt's young. We'll see if in the big spotlight he hasn't had to do that with the A's because they're never in it. So he doesn't. Let's see what he does under the big lights and the big stage. It's a totally different game when the pressure's on. Austin Riley at third. You got Marcell Ozuna in outfield, Alex Dickerson DHing, Adam Duvall outfield, and Dansby Swanson at shortstop. Travis and the old Italian name, Tianold, at the catching spot at the 9-hole. Their pitching staff, solid. Max Fried. You got Charlie Morton, Kyle Wright, Ian Anderson. You got Unoa, and you got Davidson. Their closer, they went out and got Kenley Jensen. Of course, we all know him. So their question marks. Bottom line, the Matt Olson thing, that's a question mark to me. Last year, or on this lineup now, they have 4 hitters that had 30-plus homers with 100 RBIs last year with Olson, Albies, Riley, and Duvall. So this team's loaded. I do have them winning the division. I have the Braves, Mets, and Phillies. The Mets and Phillies making the wild card, and I have the Braves going deep. So I do have them going to the National League Championship game. I don't know if they can win it, but I know they'll be there because, again, to be the champ, you got to beat the champ.
Wow. All right, Mike, you've got, because what I'd like to get now is Mike and Paul's take, just the comment, if you have any comments on what Rick just said. So, Mike, let's move on over to you.
I think you have to realize that Atlanta wasn't a great team last year. They were a good team that beat better teams in the playoffs. Everything you say about them is true, Rick, but I think the Mets are going to be a tougher team because I think Scherzer still has everything there is to be one of the best pitchers. And as soon as DeGrom gets back, he's considered the best pitcher. And they have a lot of role players around Alonso. And Matt Olson's unproven. And I think the loss of Freeman and Soler is going to hurt him. But I understand your pick, but I think the Mets are going to win that division.
Very interesting.
I think that the big question mark with the Mets is how is DeGrom going to come back? Like Rick said, if he does come back healthy and stuff, he's going to be well rested for the stretch run, the second half of the season. And as long as Scherzer can hold up, he's on the downside of his career, on the backside of his career, I should say.
Right.
What are we going to get from him? But yeah, I agree. I had them. I had Atlanta winning the division and making it to the NLCS as well. So,
yep.
Wow, that's interesting, guys. Yeah, I would have thought one of you would have picked the Mets. Well,
on
Mike,
paper,
you did, right?
It looks great, but until Lindor comes back to anything what he was close to, I'm not touching the Mets and with two star pitchers being ouchy already, that scares me. Yeah. That scares me. It's not like a plug and play where you can just repair that shoulder, call it a day, and throw somebody in. I mean, these guys aren't. I mean, DeGrom is fine, but Scherzer's not young anymore. I mean, it just scares me with pitchers when they get ouchy early. Really scares me.
especially with
thought
the
on the
shortened
Mets,
spring training, you're going to see
Yes.
pitchers going down left and right.
Yeah.
And it could be up to the minor league system
That's the thing.
as to
Yeah.
how strong their minor league pitchers are, as to who comes in to give a few outings or whatever.
Got that.
well, haven't
right.
they expanded the roster to 28 for the first month
For
or
the
so?
first month.
First month. Yeah.
And that's to help the pitchers, I'm sure. They're going to
Positive. Yeah.
The teams are going to bring up 2 pitchers, you know.
Yeah.
And it works not only to help the starters, like you said, trying to, you know, give them more time to stretch out, but also it'll give them an opportunity to take a look at some of these younger arms or some of these free
yeah.
agents. So that I'll tell you, my thoughts on the Mets are very simple. I don't think they'll ever win. There's something about no. There's something about New York, guys. Not everybody can play in New York.
They can't
That's
handle
a
the
tough.
media.
They cannot handle it.
That's
You see, that's my
absolutely
thought
true.
on the Mets. You've had great players go through. For example, Robinson Cano. The greatest thing the Yankees ever did was get rid of Robinson Cano. This guy, you know, he didn't hustle. I would watch him all the time, and I used to be a huge fan. Not anymore. This guy, as far as I'm concerned, he's washed up. So yeah, the Braves I think are the best team in that division, and I think your comments. I could go into the Marlins. Have you ever been to Marlins Park? I know Mike, you have. You ever been to
Yes.
the stadium, Marlins Stadium? Yeah,
Marlins
yeah.
Met
It's like
Stadium.
yeah, it's like a sardine can. You know,
Haven't been
can't
there
stand
yet,
that
no.
place. Yeah, I don't think the Marlins will ever win as long as they're playing in that stadium. And there's a reason why Jeter
Marlins
left.
Park, yeah.
Yeah.
There has to be something very
Yeah,
deep.
something. Yeah, for him to give up. Yeah, yeah, something happened.
Yeah.
You talk to people that know Jeter, and they say he's never quit anything in his life.
Never.
Right.
No, and that was surprising. Yeah, something's
Very
going
surprising.
on.
Yeah. So anyway, Rick, the Braves, right? They're going to make it all the way to
Yes.
the National League
To
Championship.
the
game.
National League Championship. Yes.
Okay. All right. All right. Let's move on then. Let's move on to the Central. Paul.
All right. This one is going to be a tight race, and I think it's going to come down to just 2 teams, the Cardinals and the Brewers.
All right. Start from your number 5. I like that concept. Work from the bottom up.
From number 5?
Yeah.
Okay, because I kind of went. Okay, this is going to be a little bumpy here.
Okay,
the Pirates
then
and
go
Reds.
ahead. I'm sorry.
No.
I'm sorry.
The
No,
Pirates
he's
and Reds
fine.
suck.
Yeah.
So there we go.
Pirates.
I'll get
Which one
4 and 5
sucks
out of the
more? Which one sucks more?
The Reds sold off a bunch of their team in the offseason. I mean, they don't have much
Yes.
coming back. The Pirates are still in a rebuild. Seems like we're saying that year after year after year. But I think
But
the
they've
Pirates
been in a rebuild
might be
since
closer.
78, right?
Yeah.
They've been rebuilding since
Since
78.
Pop and them left, yes. And Starkville left, yes. Yeah.
They did have a couple years in there where they were really good and made the playoffs. But yeah, they might be closer to competing than the Reds are. I certainly hope so. Not that I'm against the Cincinnati Reds, but I do like the Pittsburgh Pirates. So let me jump to the Cubs.
So wait a minute. The Reds are number 5, from what I gather.
Reds are number 5. Reds are 5, or Reds are, let's say, 4, and Pirates are 5.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I gotta get down.
You can just call them 5A and 5B. 4A, 4B.
Okay.
However you want to call it.
All right,
Okay.
the Cubs. Let me just preface this by saying that I do not like the Cubs. I'm born and raised in St. Louis.
Shocking.
That
How
is
dare
part of
you.
our culture. I am sorry for anybody that listens and is a Cub fan.
I am shocked.
They
Just
they
totally shocked.
will be okay, which of course doesn't upset me at all. Their big signing this year was at Seiya Suzuki. He was from Japan, right, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Korea, okay. The problem with some of these guys coming over is that you just don't know what they're going to get from them. He could start out on fire. Most pitchers don't have a book on him this year yet. But as the season goes on, the pitchers will start figuring him out, and he'll likely cool off if they do. So in the outfield, we got Suzuki. Ian Happ will add about 25 homers to that lineup. Then we see Jason Hayward. I can see him being more of a liability offensively than much of a threat. He's on the downside of his career. On the infield, Patrick Wisdom will either hit home runs or strike out this year. Nico Horner, he'll man short, and he'll do pretty well offensively. Look for him to hit around 270 and probably move up and down that lineup a little bit. Nick I'm sorry about his last name, Madrigal. He comes over from the White Sox, where he was a backup, decent fielder. We'll see how he handles the everyday job. First base belongs to Frank Swindell, and he'll club around 20 home runs up there. Behind the plate is Wilson Contreras again. He'll be the main offensive threat, I believe, on the roster. He'll give them 20 or 25 or so home runs and drive in a bunch of runs. As far as their rotation goes, Kyle Hendricks and Marcus Stronum, that ain't right, will be solid, but that's about it. Justin Steele, Drew Smiley, and Alec Mills are just going to be okay. And they're going to do closer by committee, which I'm not a big fan of. They have Rowan Wick, Michael Givens, and David Robertson closing things out. Again, not a fan of that. I think that a closer needs to know that they're going to be the last guy out there to close things out. And I don't think the committee's going to do that. So that's the Chicago Cubs. Let's go up to I'm torn between the Brewers and the Cardinals winning this division. Both teams, I think, are very good. They're stacked. I'm gonna be the homer, and I'm gonna go for the Cardinals winning the division. So Milwaukee, they're gonna throw out a little bit older outfield this year, but they do have some pop left in their bats. Hunter Renfroe will give them about 30 homers, and Lorenzo Cain will provide some speed. And of course, you have Christian Yelich chipping in with 25 to 30 home runs as well. He's getting older too, had some injuries last year, so we'll see how he rebounds. On the infield, they'll start the season with Luis Urias on the injured list with a quad injury, so they'll look at Jace Peterson to man the hot corner at third. And I'm going to get this name wrong, Willie Adames.
Adames is right.
That's right.
It is right. Yep.
Awesome. Wow. A very strong shortstop. Who
you didn't know you were half Cuban, right?
No, apparently I am. They'll give him about 20 or so home runs and drive in a bunch of runs as well. Second base is their leadoff hitter and Gold Glover, Colton Wong. Anything close to that guy, he's going to get. Also a great double play Turner in the middle of the infield. And he will also set the table for the sluggers hitting behind him. He can get on base with the best of them. At first base, you have Rowdy Tellez. The guy over there looks like a Mack truck. And for these runners going to first base, it's a good thing they're going to have wider bases because you won't move that guy. He'll contribute about 20 home runs this year. Behind the plate, we'll have Omar Narvaez. Pretty solid year last year. He's a good catcher, hitting 260 with 11 dingers. That's about as far as catchers go. Offense for them is just kind of secondary, as Rick would probably agree with. Their job is to handle the pitching staff, which will be very good again. This is where I would give them the nod over the Cardinals. They do have two Cy Young pitchers in Corbin Burns and Brandon Woodruff, followed by All-Star Freddie Peralta. Great 1-2-3 punch. Then they have Adrian Hauser and Eric Lauer. But they do have one of the best bullpens, I believe, in the National League, led by closer Josh Hader. Look for him to get about 30 saves again, over 30 saves again. And they have two awesome setup guys to get to Hader in Brad Boxberger and Devin Williams. St. Louis kid, by the way. So I'm looking for a solid season from that pitching staff. I know when the Cardinals play up there, it's always, what are we going to get? It's a tough game up there. So with my Redbirds, let's see. We have a great starting lineup in the outfield. Defensively, it's as good as it gets. You got two Gold Glovers and an up-and-coming Gold Glover, Tyler O'Neill, Harrison Bader, and Dylan Carson. They're all quick. They can all hit. They're all excellent fielders. And you can count on O'Neill and Carlson to hit 20 to 25 homers each. On the infield, on the corners, it doesn't get much better than this, guys. Nolan Arenado at third and Paul Goldschmidt at first. Two Gold Glovers who can hit over 30 home runs. Up the middle, you got Paul DeYoung, question mark there. At shortstop, he can hit about 20 bombs a year. And at second base, Tommy Edman, who is quick, potential Gold Glover there as well. Those two will make up a great double play tandem. And behind the plate, making his farewell tour this year, and that saddens me to hear that. But what a guy, Yadier Molina. This man is Cardinal baseball. I remember watching him back in 2005 when he was hitting below 100, and just to see how far he's come and how good he has gotten offensively. His defense has always been fantastic. It's just amazing. The rotation took a big hit when Jack Flaherty hurt his shoulder. He might be out another month or so. So they'll go with Adam Wainwright, who could also be ending his career this year. And if him and Yadi both stay healthy, they can set the all-time battery mate record this year, which is a record that probably will never get broken. I don't know the number off the top of my head, but that'll never get broken. He'll be followed by Miles Michaelis, newcomer Steven Matz, and Dakota Hudson, who is coming off Tommy John surgery, but he looked pretty good at the end of last year. As far as the bullpen goes, it's pretty good, although they're going to go by closer by committee again. Giovanni Gallegos, Genesis Cabrera, and Ryan Helsley. They're all fireballers who can close things out. Look for them to get 100-mile-an-hour plus fastballs. Former closer Jordan Hicks will be in the mix again, but he's being stretched out as their fifth starter. And then the big signing this year that the Cardinals did, they added some guy named Albert Pujols to come back and finish his career here with the Cardinals. So he'll be the DH hitting against left-handed pitching. And we touched on this earlier. You're not going to find a ticket this year, especially towards the end of the year, with Yadi, Albert, and possibly Wainwright ending their careers this season. These guys are a huge part of the team that won the World Series in 2006. Sorry, Rick.
That's all right.
It'll be a great year for the Cardinals if they all stay healthy. So that is my pick for the NL Central.
So it's the Cardinals.
Paul, real quick, do you have anybody going to the playoffs besides St. Louis out of that division?
I could see the Brewers getting in.
Okay.
Cubs won't. Sorry, Chicago. They won their one World Series for the 100 years. So
I'll tell you what, in the Central, that was like fire sales for some of those teams last year with really big names.
Yeah.
Cincinnati, that's the talk in Ohio right now, is what the hell were they doing? I mean, they fire sold they were on the rise. That offense was legit.
Mm-hmm. So, why did they sell it all?
No idea. They still don't know down here. No idea.
Yeah.
Well, the answer to everything, my belief, is money. Everything deals with money. Somehow it's connected to money. You know,
I'm sure it is. They probably thought it was smart stuff. They don't care about the fans, obviously, because they did. They had one of the better lineups coming back with some big names. I mean, they did. They had Pop in that lineup.
And Pop in that ballpark?
Yes.
You would need to hit it hard.
Nope.
Yeah.
Okay, so Mike, what's your take on Paul's picks? He's got Cardinals 1, Brewers 2. I'm surprised he even mentioned the Cubs. I thought he was just going to skip over
I figured
them.
I had to.
Yeah, what the hell?
I didn't want to, but
you have any comments on that, Mike? On his picks?
Good news and bad news. The good news is I think the Cubs are going to be worse than he thinks they are. They gave away Russell and Rizzo is gone. Chris Bryant, who was key to their success 2 years ago, is gone. The rest of the players are getting much older, including Wilson Contreras. I think they're going to have a bad record. I think all three of those teams, except for the Brewers, the Cards, are going to have a bad record. But I slightly like the Brewers, and don't kill me for this, Paul, but their pitching is so good. And you got Yelich, and you got Lorenzo Cain, and you got.
Hey, I like the Brewers. That's one of my second favorite teams.
Too, I gotta say, I think, by the way, Paul Goldschmidt is one of the most underrated players in baseball. But I wouldn't be surprised if this came down. I think it's going to go down to the wire. But the Cardinals will make the playoffs, and the Brewers will win the division.
Look, Paul, let me go back to you a second. You chose. Yeah. So who do you have making the playoffs here? Because
Cardinals and the Brewers.
Cardinals and the Brewers, right?
Yep.
From that division. Okay. All
yep.
right. Okay, Rick, any thoughts on Paul's picks?
No, I like it. I think that's an easy call on the 2-man race. You can flip flop them; they're interchangeable. Like Mike said, the pitching on Milwaukee's deep. I love their closers. Hader is just filthy. I mean, absolutely filthy. I would have hated to face that guy. So yeah, I'm with him. The outfield in Milwaukee, you can argue, is one of the best in baseball too, with who they have out there. So, I mean, Lorenzo Cain is pure fire. That dude is faster than hell. I saw him in Kansas City for years. So, yeah. So,
Yeah, I'm surprised Kansas City got rid of him.
I think it's spot on. That's not a homer call. A homer call would be when the Tigers were shit, and I say they're going to win the division. That's a homer call. He's got a shot every year.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what's good about the Cardinals.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the National League West. Mike?
Okay, number 5 is Arizona.
I don't know how the hell you're going to do this, but go ahead.
Number 5 is Arizona Diamondbacks. They are one of the very worst teams, if not the very worst team in baseball. And it's hard to even mention a positive quality they have. They're so horrible. Colorado isn't that bad, but they're not good. They lost Trevor Story to Boston, a big loss. And their pitching seems to be pretty good, but they have no batters to back it up. Third is actually San Francisco. There's a 2-man race in second and third. I'll get to the Padres in a second. But you have a lot of veterans on San Francisco, and I think they were overachievers last year. And that's just that doesn't last very long. And the team seems to be up and down. Every time they didn't win the championship, but they had the best record. When there seems to be a curse when they do well, they don't do as well the next year, which I don't think they're going to for that reason. But they don't. The youngsters aren't there. Unlike San Diego, my second pick, even though Tatis is out for a month, baseball's a lot longer than that. This man is the real deal. He could do everything: steal bases, play outfields, certainly hit home runs. And the Dodgers are going to be untouchable this year. They're going to win the whole thing. I'll just say it right now. You have 3 MVPs in Freddie Freeman, Cody Bellinger, and Mookie Betts. Add Justin Turner, add Medea and Kershaw and Urias pitching. That team is unstoppable. They're going to win the West and the World Series. I was a little abbreviated compared to these two experts here, but that's my picks.
Okay, so of course you got the Dodgers going all the way, and the Padres too.
Yes.
Yep.
All right, Rick, what's your take on that?
I think it's undisputable. I mean, the Dodgers, like I said, are the West Coast Yankees. They went out and bought everybody, and that's what they want to do. Now the question is, do they put it together again? That's the only question. The pieces are there. Mike's not. I mean, it's really a clear-cut favorite. Probably the only clear-cut favorite for a division other than the AL Central, to be completely honest with you, as far as it's going to be a runaway in that division, even though San Diego is going to give them – I love San Diego. I just like seeing them back and being prevalent, old school Tiger guy, 84 World Series with Goose Gossage and the boys and Tony Gwynn. And, I love seeing the Padres back. I do. I think it's great. And he's right. Tatis is just nasty. I love the young up-and-comers in this in the MLB right now. Me and Paul touched on it. It's when you're old, when you're looking at names going, I watched his dad play. He was awesome. And they're all over the MLB right now. So it's really cool to see. So, yeah, he's right about the Dodgers, though.
All right, so let's start now. I just want to put you guys on the spot right now, and we're going to start with Paul. Paul, tell me who are going to be the final 2 teams to play for the National League Championship.
Yep.
I'm gonna go with the Dodgers, or as Albert Pujols, the Dyers, and the Braves.
Dodgers and Braves.
Yes.
Okay. Mike?
Brewers and Dodgers. I'm going to go out on a limb here. I think Brewers have made such significant changes. They're going to do so well. But they're not the Dodgers. They don't have that much talent. But I think the Brewers are as good as any team in the NFC East. NL East. Sorry,
That's very interesting. Okay, Rick.
I like Paul's. I'm going to stick with my division on this preview. So I'm going to go with the Braves and the Dodgers. As Mike said, I mean, unless they collapse, unless there's some injuries we don't see, obviously it's a long season. It's the Dodgers to win, to lose. Basically, it's not really a question in that division unless something happens. You know, midseason trades, a lot can happen, but right now on paper, it's not even close.
The only team that's going to beat the Dodgers is the Dodgers.
The Dodgers, yeah.
That's interesting. Let me put you all on the spot here, finally. There's always a sleeper, like we call it a Cinderella or whatever, the sleeper that just comes out of nowhere. We've seen that in the last few years. Who is your sleeper? If you had to pick one team out of the ones that you did not choose, of course, who would you think is the sleeper, the one that would say, nobody thought of these people? Where the hell these? This is like Washington. Remember when Washington won it a couple of years ago? A few years ago?
Yeah.
They had a terrible record. It was like, right, 80 wins, 85. Nobody, and they come along and they win it. So let's go to Paul first. Paul, you're sleeper.
Great.
All right, let's go to Rick. Let me give you a chance to think about it. We'll go to Rick.
You know
Go
what?
ahead,
I really believe in the National League. A lot of it comes down to pitching, and I think I touched on a team that could be a sleeper, and they could. The Marlins, with that pitching staff that I named, are filthy if they can get that 24-year-old prospect to live up to his top billing. You have 4 starters that are lights out. And when you only have to score 3 and 4 runs a game to win a game, you got looks. So I'm the old school defense equals offense. And that's, I think pitching's the biggest thing in Major League Baseball.
Wow, that's interesting. So Rick, I wouldn't classify myself. I wouldn't classify the Marlins as sleepers. I would classify them more as in being in a coma. All right. That's my take. Okay.
It's the Tigers coma. I know that coma. I've seen that coma. Yeah.
You've been there for a while, right?
Yeah.
But that's an interesting choice, though. I think you're right on the pitching. The pitching is just and imagine if they would still have Jose Fernandez.
That's it. If they still had the offense they once had, they'd be lethal. But they just need people to step up. That's just all there is to it. Small ball can still win when you got lights out pitching. Yeah,
but that Jeter thing I can't get that out of my mind.
It does. It scares me because there may be something coming down the pike that we don't know, and that scares me. But if just looking at it with the pitching staff, that's who I'd go with as a sleeper.
Yeah, and I'll tell you guys, I'll share this with you. Being from Miami, I'm surprised the Marlins are still here. Their attendance is horrible. Their stadium is horrible. Their parking facilities are horrible. Everything about them just literally sucks. And the problem here in Miami is that there's too many things to do.
That's it. Yeah.
People go to the beach. They go play tennis. They go play golf. They go fishing. That's why their attendance is horrible. And by the way, there's a lot of Central and South Americans here. Right. They're not baseball fans.
Right.
They're into soccer.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? This is one of the things. And then they wonder, well, why the hell aren't people going? Because the sport is not attractive. Cubans are the ones that used to fill the stadiums here. And the Cuban generation now, the older generation are, they're phasing out like myself. They're getting into their 70s, their 80s. Their sons and daughters just aren't into baseball that much. It's a problem. So I'm even surprised. And I keep coming back to this Jeter thing. There has to be something for this man to walk away. Yeah. That's All right. So let's move over to Mike, because we're going to give Paul even more time to think about this. It's like I can see the smoke.
Philly.
I'm going to say the Phillies.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think I think they're going to slightly miss the playoffs, but it wouldn't surprise me if they're as good as Braves or Atlanta. Really, they could win the whole thing. Aaron Nola was an 11-3 pitcher or something, and they have not only Bryce Harper. I like Segura. I like a lot of their talents, and they can surprise a lot of people.
Interesting.
Yeah, I like that.
Wow.
That's why I have both. That's why I have 3 of them coming out of that division. I have 2 wild cards coming from that division.
You're absolutely right. Yeah, I see that. Wow.
Okay. Anybody else want to pick theirs before me?
Division at the end of the year.
You think? Yeah.
Between 3 teams. Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I think it'll be tight up top in that division.
Yeah, I like the way you think. Cool. Okay, Paul, you've had like 35 minutes to think about this.
Anybody else want to get another guest on?
We've
to
stalled
pick
all we
their
Yeah.
can for you,
No,
brother.
that's it. That's it. That's right.
Wouldn't it be just incredibly awesome? And this isn't my sleeper pick. Incredibly awesome to be sitting in that swimming pool in Arizona and catching the game-winning home run in the World Series to win the World Series. Wouldn't that be awesome?
That
Would be awesome.
Not going to happen for
It's not going to
several
happen, but
years,
that'd be really
yeah.
cool.
I like dreaming.
I hate to piggyback on you guys, but I do like the Phillies. I mean, they can hit the ball, they can pitch. It's just fielding that if they can shore that up, they could have a chance.
Got that right.
That is very interesting. I'm going to go with the Cardinals.
Okay.
And I'm not just saying that.
I'll send you a check later. Sorry.
No. I'm going to go with the Cardinals because I think this Pujols thing and this Molina thing, I think they're going to play off of that. Just the emotion is going to carry them through this. And Rick, you know this.
Yeah.
Emotion can go a long way, dude.
Oh, it can.
When there's that chemistry.
And a unified locker room can go a long way. A clubhouse that loves each other can go a long way.
Long way, dude.
And I will say, when you have a leader like Yachty and now Albert, that is a pretty good.
That's a good one too, there.
Two really good coaches that aren't coaches.
Yes.
To lead some young kids, but I mean, what they say goes in that locker room.
No, and their teammates love them. They just love them.
Yeah.
The harmony, from what I've heard, the harmony in there is just fantastic. Which I think that's one of the problems with the Mets. I don't think that's ever going to work. The egos, the city itself. Great picks, guys. So we're going to keep our next show is going to be the American League. And that'll give Paul a little bit more time also to think about it. We want to give him as much time as possible.
Paul, get a sleeper.
I'm from the Midwest. I'm slow.
Yeah, you go. Well, that's good. Sometimes that's good. All right. So we'll do that next time. This was a great show. Last comments, guys. I'll start. Let me leave Paul, give Paul a little bit more time. Mike, I'll start with you. Final comments before we sign off.
I think
Mike,
you're going to have a lot of parity, even though the Dodgers are going to be the very best team. It's going to be a wild race. I think we know who the bad teams and the good teams are, and the good teams are going to battle it out. And if anybody beats the Dodgers, they should get a bonus.
Interesting. I think the Dodgers are overrated, to be honest with you. I don't think payroll has anything to do with that. They pay a lot of these guys. It's my take. Rick, we'll go to you. We'll give Paul some more time.
Your take sucks, Ralph, because the reason you just said that, payroll shouldn't mean anything to you because the Yankees been trying it for 10 years and ain't done shit. So
awful. And don't get me started because you know what?
I understand
I would have gotten rid of Cashman years ago.
Yeah.
You know who I would have gone after? Tooth and nail. I would have paid him whatever he wanted. Epstein. Theo Epstein.
Yeah. I mean,
that's
sure.
the guy. Absolutely. The
Everybody was ready to pay him everything, though.
Yeah, exactly.
What he's done has been phenomenal. But my take is I'm with Mike on this. Literally, I can't wait to watch the East, the battle near the end of the year, because I'm not kidding. I think it's a 3-team race, and I think 6 games separates first to third. I think it's under 10. I would put money on that. And the Central looks like a great race between the top 2 dogs. It does. But it wouldn't shock me to see somebody sneak up in there, but it's not going to be Pittsburgh or Cincy. But it's going to be fun to watch, really fun to watch. And obviously adding that third wild card, it's going to be good for baseball down the stretch because you're going to have involved meaningful games with 5, 4, 3 games left in the year. So that'll be cool.
All right, Paul, you had enough time? We're good?
You want to go, Rick or Ralph? Go ahead, go.
Go ahead, Ralph.
I don't have a say in this, dude.
He's going to take
keep
us
you
out.
animals in your cages. That's all.
I think Tiger Woods is going to win the Masters.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, that's good.
Are we still talking about baseball? Okay.
Yeah.
No, I think I'm so glad that baseball's back. I got to tell you, all week I haven't slept. I've been dragging all week. Today, I've only had 2 cups of coffee. I am ready to go. Baseball is back. I am looking forward to it.
Nice.
It's going to be a great year.
That is awesome. Okay, guys. So that'll wrap it up for today. Mike, you had your pick, right? Yeah, you did. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm getting old. I'm getting senile. All right.
You're in
Great
a
show,
safe
guys.
spot. safe
Yeah,
spot.
I know,
Ralph.
I know.
You're okay.
What can I tell you? I'm good. I'm good.
You're okay.
I'm fine. I'm fine.
I know.
I'm good. Okay, guys, great show. Let's wrap this up. It's great to be with you guys. Now, for you that are listening, you're watching, like and subscribe, hit that button, ring that bell, do all that kind of stuff. Just share this with people. We're going to be doing this on a regular basis. We haven't decided yet whether it's going to be one show a week, probably one show a week, one show every 10 days or 2 weeks, to bring up to date where we are in the standings and how everybody's doing. It's a long season, folks, so anything can happen. But it'll be fun just to keep up with it. Our next show is going to be the AL, and it's going to be very, very interesting because I know that Rick, I know what Rick's going to say, but Rick, just so you don't have a prayer in the world. Okay.
No, I didn't. I would never, not in that division. That's one of the easiest ones to call.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. So, guys, it's been a pleasure. We will see you next time. And for those of you that have just tuned in, hit the like button, the subscribe button. Life, Sports, Music, and Beer. And we don't only cover sports. If you want to call us and you want to talk about life, you want to talk about any experiences you have, stuff that just, something that happened in your life to make a difference in your life, you want to share that with people because that's what it's all about, folks. We've got some great music shows coming on. Music is a huge part of our lives. I've always said that music can survive without sports, but sports cannot survive without music. I've always said that. Sports just needs music. So all these things just combine to bring us all the pleasures that we have in life. And folks, on behalf of Mike and Paul and Rick, I'll just tell you this. There's so much crap out there in the world today. We need to sometimes just step back and enjoy the beautiful things in life, like sports and music and a nice beer every now and then. And, put down your phones and just get together and talk. Watch baseball games. And that's one of the things about baseball, Rick, that I love, is the fact that you're able to sit there. It's a slow sport. This is why I'm so against these people trying to speed it up. All right? One of the great sports, to me, in history. It's not a greater one. So, guys, it's been great to see you. We'll catch you next time. Next episode, AL, American League. See you next time, folks. Take care. Bye.
On behalf of everyone from Life, Sports, Music, and Beer, we thank you for tuning in. If you've got that story to tell, comment below. Smash that like and subscribe button. And don't forget to hit that bell so you can hear other amazing stories.